For this last video of the day, we're going to be talking about a certain individual, a certain Democrat who's been under the spotlight of controversy for his recent decision to endorse President Donald Trump. Now, before we go into this video, if you like what I have to say, if you're new to the channel, I recommend you subscribe, like the video, share the video. Because the best thing you can do is just basically share with your friends. YouTube is not gonna prop me up like other mainstream media outlets. So if you think this content you might want to hear later on in the future, I recommend you hit the subscribe button, hit notifications with all notifications. That way, hopefully, YouTube will notify you whenever I upload a video. But going back to the main topic at hand, this Democrat has been under fire for basically announcing and making public, basically, his support for President Donald Trump. Now, here's a little fact, a little fun fact. The Democrats, the leftists, they love minorities only when you agree with their form of thinking. Yep, that's right. I'm a Hispanic, and you'd be surprised how many times I've been called a lot of racial slurs. Not from the right, though. It's ironically, actually not really, but at least back in the day it kind of was. Ironically, though, it was from the left. The left who was saying that, was championing for my rights and my equality. The same left that's championing for, the betterment of black people and Asian people and women. Well, it turns out that if you do not agree with their way of thinking, they call you a traitor. They call you the same racial slurs that they accuse the right of using against you. Yeah, I've been called a wetback before because I've actually worn my Trump 2020 hat to my classes in college. Yeah, I know it's kind of dumb, but I mean, hey, it's free speech, right? But yeah, I've actually been called a wetback by a few Bernie Sanders supporters in my class. And that actually happened this year, to be honest with you, in my anthropology class. Yeah, such a useless class, but hey, I have to take it because it's mandatory. Thank you, college. But no, yeah, you'd be surprised. The left who claims to be fighting and loves minorities, they hate you if you do not agree with them. Well, the same is being done to Mr. Vernon Jones. Now, he like I think it was last week he announced that he was endorsing Donald Trump, and he was basically getting attacked by his own party. He announced his intention to resign, but apparently, some good news, if you haven't heard of it or you haven't been keeping up, he is not resigning anymore. And for you, sir, I applaud you. Why? Because you are standing your ground and you're basically telling the left, I don't care what you think. And that's amazing. Why? Because the left, all they care about is control. They throw a temper tantrum when they don't get their way, and the moment you give in, that's when they win. Because they have no real policy. Their policy is orange man bad, and that's all they can muster. There's no policy within the Democrats anymore. At least the party in general, not the like the Democrats as in like members of the party, but within the party in general, they don't have any policies anymore. If I were to ask you, and I'm just curious, I'm just curious, I want to ask you, if you are a Democratic supporter, I want to ask you this question. Name one particular policy that Joe Biden is unique on compared to Donald Trump. What has been his one of his most unique policies that make him different than Donald Trump? I honestly can't name one. What I can do is name policies from other Democrats, or at least who at least had some sort of message. Bernie Sanders has always been free healthcare, free college, everything free. Elizabeth Warren came in and stole that from Bernie, right? But at least some politicians, at least some of them, have an idea, have a message. The problem is other moderates, other classical liberals in the party have a different message, and that creates a clash. But at the end of the day, Democrats, they don't like minorities that do not think like they do. Look at Candace Owens. How many times has the left gone after Candace Owens? I thought the left loves black people. What about Kanye West when he came out and supported President Donald Trump? How many celebrities were making fun of him and insulting him for his support of Donald Trump? Even Don Lemon on CNN, he actually made fun of Kanye West, and I think even brought up Kanye's mother, that if Kanye's mom was here, that she'd be rolling in her grave or something like that. That's the left for you. They love minorities as long as you think like they do. They don't love minorities like me. Minorities who acknowledge that to some degree not everyone is racist, who acknowledge that not everyone is bad, right? But the left doesn't like people like me. And if you, to some degree, disagree with even 1% of the left's ideologies, congratulations, you are now in the crosshairs of the left because they're not going to like you. They want you to believe 100% with their ideals, and if you say no or if you disagree, you are now a racist, bigoted, xenophobic Nazi. But let's go on with a little bit of the story, shall we? From the Albany Herald, it reads: Democrat State Representative Vernon Jones now says he is staying in the race and not resigning after endorsing Trump. And to you, sir, I applaud you. You're not one of those cowards who decides to step down and say, okay, fine, I'm gonna resign because I'm because of the Twitter mafia out there. If anything, he has gained a little bit. He has gained more respect for me because when I first heard this story, as much as I was pretty disappointed, I actually lost a little bit of respect because when I saw that he was resigning, I thought to myself, there goes another person who doesn't have a backbone to stand up to the left. But now this guy's finally figured out and said, you know what? I'm not gonna quit because of some people on Twitter. I'm gonna stand my ground and I'm gonna stand with what I believe in. And that, sir, I can applaud you for. And sir, you have gained back my respect. So preach to you, sir. You have your ideals and you believe them. So anyways, keep going. State Representative Vernon Jones backtracked Thursday on plans to resign from his General Assembly seat a day after announcing he would step down in the wake of fierce criticism for his endorsement of President Donald Trump's re-election bid. Jones, a Democrat from Lithuania, really Lithuania? That's a place? Lithuania said on Twitter he decided to reverse course after receiving overwhelming support and outcry following his resignation decision Wednesday morning. That was emotional, and that was motivational, Vernon said, shortly before noting he will remain in the primary to hold his state house seat. The remarks come a day after Jones said he is tired of being attacked and harassed by the Democratic Party in the wake of his public show of support for the Republican president. Turn the lights off. I have left the plantation. He actually used the phrase, which I actually find very, 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 very funny. Because that's one of the terms. But I'll go back to it once I finish the sentence. Jones said in a statement announcing his resignation Wednesday, someone else can occupy that suite. Now, one of the things that usually a lot of conservative Black Americans, or in this case African Americans, they tend to use is leave the plantation. This is basically saying that stop depending on the Democrats. Here's the thing. Shocker, but Democrats were the ones who were fighting to preserve slavery. It was the Republicans who were fighting against it. So when you hear the term "leave the plantation," basically telling African Americans become more independent. Don't rely on the government. In some degree, I agree. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say I left the plantation because it doesn't apply to me, but the whole idea of the Democratic Party is trust the government and we will give you stuff. That's basically what the Democratic Party is at this point. Free stuff, free everything. You don't need you don't need your rights. You can just depend on the government to provide you safety. You don't need the Second Amendment. The government can provide you safety. You don't need the First Amendment. The government will just dictate what you can and cannot say, right? This is why a lot of conservatives are turning. This is why a lot of people of color are becoming or leaning more conservative. As much as I support Donald Trump as of this election season, who knows? Maybe the Democratic Party will get their act together 4 years later, and maybe I might vote Democrat over conservative. I don't know. I'm a moderate. You have to win my vote. But so far, Donald Trump is the only one who has won my vote because he's the only one that's basing his policy on. He's basing his race, in this case, his presidential race, on policy, not on a narrative. But anyways, let's keep going. Jones is angling for a third consecutive term. Jones is angling for a third consecutive term in staunchly Democratic House District number 91, based in East Metro Atlanta, including a portion of Rockdale County. He drew one opponent, Rhonda Taylor, a community activist who owns a consulting company in Conyers and ran unsuccessfully against Jones in 2016. He is on his second stint in the Georgia House of Representatives that began in 2016, following a longer House tenure from 1993 to 2001. The outspoken Jones was also, was also DeKalb's, I think you pronounce it, or DeKalb's, is that it now? Yeah, DeKalb's County CEO from 2001 to 2009. In recent comments, Jones criticized the Democratic Party as a stifling influence on conservative Black Americans. He also held Trump's economic record, his support for historic Black colleges and universities, and for signing legislation to release low-level federal prisoners. Jones has also lashed out against Democratic lawmakers for their stances on immigration, noting that he prefers the crackdown approach Trump takes on illegal border crossings. In a radio interview Wednesday morning, Jones said he plans to remain a Democrat despite the fact his statements of late have made have been met with criticism from Georgia Democratic leaders. What are they trying to do? Spank me? Jones said on the Rashad Ritchie morning show. I don't care what the Democratic Party is going to do. Georgia Democratic leaders were quick to denounce Jones after his endorsement of Trump's campaign last week, framing his public comments as a decisive break with the party. State House Minority Leader Bob Trammell, Democrat from Luthersville, promptly backed Taylor's campaign to unseat Jones, and State Senator Nikema Williams, chair of the Democratic Party of Georgia, called Jones an embarrassment to the party who does not stand for our values. Never has there been a clearer than in this moment when he chose to stand with the racist president who made an all-out assault on black Americans, who has tried to rip away American healthcare, who has failed our country in its greatest time of need during the most important election in our lifetime, said Williams, Democrat from Atlanta. Very ironic how you like to say that he doesn't, he basically has been attacking the black community, but in reality, black unemployment has been a record low under Trump. The economy was doing great before even COVID-19 started. Had COVID-19 not happened, I guarantee you it would have been a lot better. But again, this is what the left does. Again, going back to what Nikema Williams called Jones, an embarrassment, and he does not stand for our values. So what are your values? What are your values? Wanting socialism? Seeing the world as racist every single day? Is that your value? Is that what it is? Keeping people dependent on the government instead of helping them get off of poverty? Is that what your values are? I'll go back to the first statement though. An embarrassment. This is what the left will call a minority who doesn't believe in their cult of victimhood. That's what it is. It's a cult of victimhood. If you are a minority and you don't believe that America is racist, if you're a minority and you believe that the only reason why people fail or they have a tough life is because of bad decisions they made in their lifetime. If you're a minority and you think Orange Man, not that bad. You don't have to like him, but you say he's not that bad. They will call you an embarrassment. They will call you the worst of things. The things that they accuse the right of saying to minorities, they will call you that. They will call you, in my case as a Hispanic, I can say this. They will call you a wetback if you're Hispanic and you have some support, or if you support the president to some degree, or to some degree you acknowledge that President Trump isn't all that bad. They will call you those racial slurs. If you are a black person, they will call you an Uncle Tom. In some cases, even the N-word. In one of my cases, I think it was last semester, in one of my classes, there was this homosexual man in my class who basically was an open Donald Trump supporter. At one point we were waiting outside of the class. Someone saw him with this, with his little Trump shirt, etc., and they called him an F word that ends with a T. If you want more clues, I'm just gonna give you the word. I'm just gonna give you two more letters of the word. It's the F word that ends with a T and it has two G's in between the word. Yeah, he was called that. He was called that over his support of Donald Trump. This is what the left does. They claim they're fighting for you, but the moment you stray away from their way of thinking, they will call you the worst of the worst, and you'd be surprised. I don't know if his tweet is still up, but I actually saw some of the tweets, and they were very downright nasty. Some were calling him the N-word, others were calling him a sellout. It's insane. I was like, wow, really? Is this what the left is now? But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this. Do you stand with his decision? If you don't, can you at least respect his willingness to stand his ground and not give in to the outraged Twitter mob? Do you believe that the left truly cares about minorities, or do you think they only care about them when the minorities think the way they do? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like I said, subscribe, share with your family, like the video, that helps out a lot, and I'll see you guys next time.